Good morning. We embrace each moment with a beginner's mind and set our intentions with clarity and purpose. Come into the here and now by drawing your shoulders downward, arm resting on your thighs or to your side. Lengthen your neck, draw your chin down so that your forehead and chin are leveled. Keeping your feet parallel and separated, your body completely relaxed. Allow yourself to rest in this position, gradually experiencing a sense of stillness that rises naturally in you. Settle into that stillness and let it support you. Feel the flow of your breathing. The exhalation is cleansing. The inhalation is nourishing. Let the abdomen rise and fall with each breath. Let the breath flow without pause. You may close your eyes or keep a soft gaze as you continue to breathe. Everyone benefits from increasing their focusing abilities. Every aspect of your life could use more focus so that you can complete tasks quickly and with high quality. The first and most important thing to do that increases your focusing abilities is to eliminate any distractions. We live in a distraction-filled world where many things are competing for our attention. So let's begin exploring how to eliminate distractions by allowing yourself to relax very deeply. Breathe. Allow your breath to be even, effortless, smooth. When we decide to take several breaths on purpose, our bodies appreciate the extra oxygen that is supplied through the bloodstream to our entire system. Collectively, we will take full and deep breaths, allowing for each breath to relax you. Begin to think about the natural sound of breath in your mind as you take a deep inhale. Think so on the inhale and hum on the exhale. Let this sound be the focus of your awareness, gently bringing yourself back to it if your attention wanders. Take in a full breath of fresh air on your next inhale. And breathe out, letting it go, allowing yourself to feel very relaxed. Inhale as you make your breaths meaningful. And exhale, just letting the air go. Expanding from your diaphragm, assisting in blood flow, lowering pulse rate and blood pressure, focusing only on your breath. Breathing in. And let it go, drawing navel to spine. Nothing else matters except breathing. Feel the cool air as it flows in through your nostrils as you breathe in and feel the breath warm as it flows out, leaving you extremely relaxed. On your next inhale, maintain your awareness through each change in direction. All of your focus is on your breath, letting all of your worries go when you exhale. Draw in a breath with passion. Let thoughts come and go without judgment. And exhale, letting the wave of relaxation come over you. Breathing deeply, allowing your belly to expand, taking in as many sips of air. And exhale, letting the air simply escape. On your next inhale, expand your belly as much as you can. And exhale, letting your belly fall. On our last breath, together collectively, make it a really good one. Take a nice deep inhale. And completely full, and when you let it go, you feel so invigorated from this task. Allow your breath to return to a slower and normal flow. Simply watch your belly as it rises and falls, noticing the difference when you were fully breathing. Inhale naturally and imagine that you are able to breathe all the way into your toes. Feel as if when you breathe, the oxygen travels down to each one of your toes. And when you let this breath go, your entire leg becomes light and relaxed as if resting on clouds. Good. And now imagine that when you inhale, you are breathing all the way into each fingertip. Feel how your fingers feel when you are imagining your breath extends all the way to the tips. On the exhale, your entire arms relax completely so that they feel as light as a feather. Good. Now, with the power of your imagination, see the next breath you taking going all the way up your body and into your head, relaxing your jaw, mouth, eyes, nose, and ears. And when you exhale, you feel light and relaxed as if you were floating in water. Breathe in and feel the breath going to your forehead, relaxing away any worrisome facial expressions you have carried throughout your life. Allow for the next breath to fill your entire head, relaxing your brain as well as your mind. Your mind is relaxed and gently open. Great. Now that your entire body and mind are relaxed, I want you to feel how focused you are right now on this relief you created in yourself. You were just now very focused on breathing and visualizing that your entire body loosened and feels pleasant. This is the power of focus and how it changes anything you put it towards. Allow your mind to rest as your breath remains calm, balanced, even, and effortless. Breathing can strengthen the mind's power of concentration. First, for centering the attention. Later, when it becomes effortless, the mind is freed from all distractions and can turn inward toward deeper levels of awareness. And we breathe. Now you can gently allow yourself to come back to the present moment. Moving your toes, wiggling your fingers, taking some shoulder rolls forward and back. Taking all the time you need to come back to the here and now. You will find that you become better at eliminating distractions, allowing for your focus to move forward in life. Each time you pause and align with your breath. Bring your hands to heart center and say or sign to yourself in your heart or out loud, there is infinite and eternal consciousness. That is all there is. I am created by this oneness, and I use this everlasting energy to create everything in my life. I am clarity. I see and declare clearly and dynamically the God presence in all. I easily embody the signs of mind principles in my life and communicate them clearly. I am a powerful speaker of the truth. In gratitude for all of my blessings, I release into this field of pure potential, knowing whatever will be already is, and so it is. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Namaste.
Good morning, everybody. I'm leaning forward in my seat. I'm leaning forward in my seat. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm leaning forward in my seat. I'm leaning forward in my seat. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky. And I wake up with the sound of the thunder and the wind. And I walk out in the rain. And I let myself relax into who I am. And I'm freed of my pain. Leaning forward in my seat. Leaning forward in my seat. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm leaning forward in my seat. I'm leaning forward in my seat. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm leaning forward in my seat. I'm leaning forward in my seat. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky.
Good morning, and happy Sunday morning to all. Woo. In order to help with our method of recording our service, we request that congregants and participants who are not speaking, performing, or interpreting to please turn cameras off until after service. At that time, all can come on camera to fellowship and share the love. Thank you for your cooperation. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore's virtual service. I am Tracy Rhymes, your host. Our speaker today is our senior minister, Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson. Our musician is Sky Nelson. The pre-service meditation was led by Raymont, assisting with making this service open, inviting, and accessible to the deaf community are our sign language interpreters, Ashlee Goldman and Faith Moore. Working behind the scenes, holding things down is Jim Lefter. On behalf of Reverend Dr. Ray, thank you all for your service. At CSLGB, every Sunday is an invite a friend or family member Sunday. Make sure you spread the love and invite someone to service. We would love to have them come hang out with us. Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson will now lead us in prayer.
Anchoring and grounding ourselves in the infinite awareness that God is all there is, we allow that awareness to wash over us and to rise within us in this moment right now, connected to each person through this thing called the internet, connected to each person through this energy of love, connected simply because God being all there is, we being it, we must be connected. Every part of God connected to itself. And so what we are anchoring and knowing is that this service is a demonstration of that connectivity, a demonstration of that love, a demonstration of that power that is the infinite showing itself in, through, and as everyone who is here to serve, everyone who is here to be nourished and nurtured and supported through this service, and everyone who watches the videos later. It's all God, it's all good. We are whole, perfect, and complete, and this service is a demonstration of that. Surrendered because I know it is so, surrendered because I know it is good, surrendered because I allow my gratitude to well up, surrendered because it's done, and so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Ray.
You're welcome.
Really. All right. The Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore's community, honors the world's religions. One tree, many branches. One mountain, many paths. One world, many religions and spiritual traditions. With the lighting of these candles on the first Sunday of each month, we not only honor each person on their select path, but we also bless them and recognize the light, the love, and the life-affirming nature of spirit as it shows itself in each path, in each practice, and in each person. July is Disability Pride Month. People with disabilities are the largest and most diverse minority within the population, representing all abilities, ages, races, ethnicities, religions, and socioeconomic backgrounds. This annual observance is used to promote visibility and mainstream awareness of the positive pride felt by people with disabilities. Today, I will highlight Hung Gung Fu, the armless painter. In 1975, at the young age of 4, Han Gung Fu grabbed onto a dangling wire and his life was forever changed. Hands blistering and unrecognizable, the shock could have ended his life. Fortunately, he survived the horrific accident at the expense of his arms. Having lost both arms, Gun Fu's resilience preserved. At the age of 12, he began to develop an interest in painting. With no arms to paint with, he looked to do the unconventional. He began to paint with his feet. Gun Fu had always admired the rustic scenery around him. Walking through the rural streets of China, he wanted to recreate what he saw. To his dismay, at the age of 18, his father became ill and was slowly dying. His father was diagnosed with cancer and needed treatment. Deprived of wealth, Gun Fu looked to painting as an answer. He quit his studies and traveled around the country, practicing his craft. As he went city by city, people bought his paintings. Gun Fu successfully began raising money for his father's treatment, despite painting with his feet. During his trek, he tried to hold the paintbrush with his mouth and found he had more control. Developing his unique painting style, he found success in his journey. Following a devastating flood in Hunan, he began to raise money to help those who struggled. Having raised around $900, he donated every penny to help victims of the flood. Despite having to paint with his mouth and feet, his art undeniably resonates with others. Full of detail and mastery, his art pierces traditional methods. In an interview, he explained, "When life closes one door to you, it must have opened another at the same time." To learn more and read more, look him up. This article was by William Fu, Express Magazine. I have some announcements for you now. We currently have 3 weekly ongoing ways to study, learn, and discuss. On the first and third Monday nights, the Sacred Contracts Book Club, hosted by Nancy Rosenberg. On Wednesday nights, the Science of Mind Textbook Exploration Group, facilitated by Reverend Dr. Ray. And closing things out on Thursday night, the study group facilitated by practitioner Dr. Ronnie Ellington. The Discovery class is available online. Contact us at info@cslgreaterbaltimore.org or visit the website for more information on becoming a member of CSLGB. Sign up for the CSLGB newsletter, the CSLGB Facebook and Instagram pages, and get more news and information by visiting CSLGreaterbaltimore.org or .com. Interested in a community camping trip, a CSLGB getaway, or community retreat? Sue Italiano is checking to see if there is any interest. If so, send her an email to sueitaliano@gmail.com. The CSLGB Ministry of Education has upcoming classes. Foundations of Science of Mind, facilitated by practitioner Dr. Ronnie Ellington. One more person is needed for the Foundations class to run. If you're interested in taking Foundations, contact Sue Monahan. Conversations about race, racial literacy as a spiritual practice. Every second Wednesday of the month, 7 to 9 p.m. a year-long journey of experiencing racial literacy as a spiritual practice. As Centers for Spiritual Living holds the vision of creating a world that works for everyone as our beacon, our spiritual work is in examining our thinking, both our personal thoughts and those passed on to us in a collective, socialized manner. The required reading, A Race is a Nice Thing to Have, a guide to being a white person or understanding the white persons in your life by Janet E. Helms. Love offerings gratefully accepted. For more information, contact practitioner Rebecca Arena Beal from CSL Columbia at 410-340-4805 or Bella358@Comcast.net. Exploring the Declaration of Principles of Science of Mind and Spirit, facilitated by Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson. Dates and times coming soon. The financial investment for this class is a love offering. If interested in attending, contact Tracy Rhymes at tracyrhymes@gmail.com. For the full class description and more information, you are encouraged to visit the website cslgreaterbaltimore.org or .com to find more educational opportunities in ours and other communities we are partnered with. Would you like to receive a daily text and voicemail from Reverend Dr. Ray? If so, type JOIN to 833-663-9021 to begin receiving your daily inspirations. You will be glad you did. For those of you visiting for the first time, and to serve as a reminder for others, on the count of 3, we shout prayer works. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Prayer works. Woo, yes. We, as a community, continue to treat and move our feet, knowing the truth for everyone around the planet. Prayer requests can be sent at any time via email to info@cslgreaterbaltimore.org. Our musician today, Sky Nelson Isaacs, is a physicist, musician, and author of 2 books, Leap to Wholeness, How the World is Programmed to Help Us Grow, Heal, and Adapt, and Living in Flow, the Science of Synchronicity and How Your Choices Shape Your World. Having learned mindfulness practices from a young age and also obtained a master's degree in physics, he bridges worlds with his original research on time, space, quantum mechanics, and synchronicity. To find out more about the monthly Living in Flow, Synchronicity, and Wholeness workshop and Sky's other work, visit synchronicityinstitute.com. I give you Sky.
There is nothing to be afraid of. It's all in your mind. There is nothing to be afraid of. We're gonna make it through this time. It is only your reflection. It scares you every day, and it's time to become like children. Rediscover how to play. Gotta claim my life. It's never too late. The future and past are a different fate, but in my heart, the vision's clear. Stand up now, release the fear. We gotta stand up now, release the fear. Well, I was told when just a baby, people could be cruel, and I learned that to be successful, I was gonna have to suffer too. Somehow no one seemed to realize it's love that survives, and in the process of education, I forgot I was alive. Gotta claim my life. It's never too late. The future and past are a different fate. But in my heart, the vision's clear. Gotta stand up now, release the fear. Gotta stand up now, release the fear. Yeah, I gotta claim our lives. It's never too late. The future and past are a different fate. But in our hearts, the vision's clear. Gotta stand up now, release the fear. Let's stand up now, release the fear. Stand up now, release the fear.
Thank you, Scott. Message received. Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson will now lead us in a spiritual practice.
So let us breathe and anchor ourselves, connecting to the energy that Raymond began us with in the pre-service meditation, and Sky continued us with both the pre-service song and the song he just sang, simply anchoring into this idea of what it means to be connected. Recognizing that every part of our body, our liver, lungs, heart, muscles, tendons, bones, ligaments, cartilage, that various parts of our body are connected, and even something as airy as breath must still be connected to us. Because the air we inhale, does it not touch our lips and our tongue and our throat as it goes into our lungs? Does this air, this oxygen, not also affect the very blood that moves through our bodies? Is this air that is exhaled not also connecting to and touching the various plants that also inhale what we exhale? Wherever it is we are standing or sitting, are we not touching the floor? Is the floor not touching the ground in some way, whether it is touching the wood of the floor or the concrete of the building, somehow are we not touching the earth? And if I am standing here in the studio, am I not also touching the same earth that Jim is touching in his office? Am I not touching the same earth that Fifi is touching, that Gail is touching, that Jane is touching, that Sky is touching? Are we not all still connected and touching the same earth? And if we are God, and we are, then are we not also connected intimately by the same heaven, the same consciousness of love and creation and possibility? Do these words that I speak not vibrate through the air and land within Ashlee's ears to enable her to then create it in sign language that it is now visibly represented? So are my words not touching her, and are her signs not touching members of the deaf community? Are these words not also touching the eardrums, the skin of everyone else? There is no way that we can move and live and have our beingness unconnected from one another, disconnected from source, absent of or from love. We are it. It is us. There is only one. And what it is, we are forever connected, forever one. And so it is.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. Excuse me. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Ray.
You're welcome.
He's so sweet. Okay. Senior Minister, Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore, Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man. One look at his resume and the reason becomes clear. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self-development, personal transformation, transmutation, and self-awakening, he lives his bliss as a teacher, mentor, speaker, minister, and so much more. His mission is to live, move, and be an active, which is an acronym, authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, and empowered member of society who serves to educate, elucidate, emancipate, awaken, and empower people and communities. I really wish everyone could see what he was just doing, because adding to that is silly. Reverend Ray?
Well, you did compare me to, so when Rainey was doing her pre-service meditation, the kitty cat made a sound and almost made Ashlee laugh. And we said, children and animals, unpredictable.
Children.
And you said, children unpredictable. So.
Yes, ta-ta.
Ta-ta.
Nelly now?
Yes, ma'am.
Unless you want me to.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, fine.
I'm good.
Okay, fine.
Okay, fine. Blessings and greetings, CSL Greater Baltimore community. Today we are diving into this idea that's already been set with Renica, and as I just did in the spiritual practice, connection. Seek first the kingdom, the kinship and the communion of God, and all things shall be added unto you. An important part of our spiritual evolution is the by us stage, which has its limitations. When we free our minds of our bias, we move into the through us stage of our spiritual development. Much more awaits us and is possible when we surrender and allow Spirit to move in, through, with, and as not only us as individuals, but as each of us collectively. So you ready? So here in CSL.
Ready.
In CSL, and in CSL Greater Baltimore, of course, there's this idea of a world that works for all. We're going to get to that in a moment. But how do we, because that's a big thing, that's a big vision. How do we get there? Well, one way is what Sky mentioned. We shift our focus and learn to play, learn to be connected, learn to enjoy, and shift the focus from that which we fear. And that's a practice. Today, let's dive into Patricia Diane Cota Robles says, trying to change physical conditions without changing my consciousness is like trying to change the reflection in a mirror without changing the object causing the reflection. So trying to change what I'm afraid of without changing my consciousness, trying to change the world without changing my consciousness, trying to change my health and well-being without changing my consciousness is like trying to change the reflection in a mirror without changing the object that is in front of the mirror. So if we're going to talk about a world that works for all, then don't we have to start with, what does it mean in my consciousness for this global vision to be manifest, for this global vision to be demonstrated and experienced? What do I need to do, shift, change, evolve into in my consciousness? One thing is, this change isn't by us individually. You got that? It's a collective endeavor. Each of us plays a part. How do I know that? Because spirit is showing itself in, through, and as each of us. If it only took one person, there'd only be one of us on the planet. But the fact that there are billions of people with trillions and zillions of ideas and creative energies, that by itself is a demonstration that this is a collective effort. But once again, the collective is made up of individuals. As I said several weeks ago, when Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. asked, why is the church, which is made up of people, tending to always be the taillight rather than the headlight? The church is made up of people. This center is made up of people. The center of itself does not exist. The center is each one of us coming together collectively. So what is mine to do individually and what is ours to do collectively? The evolutionary vision states, we see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with their highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other. A world in which individually and collectively, we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. So once again, change the object in the mirror and the reflection must change. Change the consciousness and the external experience must change as well. Reverend Dr. Edward Volune, the current spiritual leader of the movement CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living, says, I make conscious use, note that, I make conscious use of the principle for a definite purpose, but I must ground that action in a deep inner perception and conviction of the spiritual truth about myself and any condition related to the treatment. Conscious use of the principle for a definite purpose. Using spiritual mind treatment for a definite purpose of health, well-being, prosperity, love, relationship, new job. It is a definite purpose. A world that works for all, a definite purpose. But that must be grounded, right? Must be anchored and grounded. But I must ground that action in a deep inner perception and conviction. So once again, the work starts internally. The work starts with, how do I use my mind? How are my emotions and feelings playing a part? What words do I use to communicate? And what actions are demonstrating this faith? Because without that, then whatever the condition is, it remains. The condition doesn't change. So I have to know the truth about myself and the truth about that which I am treating, and then act accordingly. Now, we got this thing called bias, where we tend to judge and criticize. We tend to, and there are a variety of ways that we tend to demonstrate this thing called bias. And there's conscious bias, where we know that we're judging and criticizing. And then there is unconscious bias, where we're not aware. It's like that saying, and I don't know if it's a poem or I don't know what you call it, but it's, there are things that I don't know that I don't know. And there are things that I know that I don't know. And there are things that I know that I know. And there are things that I know that I don't know that I knew when I knew that I didn't know, or something like that. You get my drift. There are unconscious biases where we judge and criticize not only others, but ourselves, and we're not even aware that we're doing it. So if we're going to, quote unquote, change the reflection in the mirror, and it starts with our consciousness, then being very mindful of how am I biasing myself and others as well? Does that mean I need to take a class? Does that mean, let it start with, let me know what bias is. As a noun, bias is a prejudice in favor of, or against something, someone, or a particular group. So you can be biased. Teacher's pet is a bias for that student. Your mom's favorite, she doesn't treat the rest of us the same. That's a bias. And all of these biases, all of these judgments, all of these criticisms are created by us. There is nothing definitive or inherent that says this group of people is superior to that group of people. This gender is superior to that gender. This country or that country, this ideology, there is nothing. All of these are things that we as people have created by us, through us, because they move through us, and they benefit us in some way, shape, or form. As a verb, cause to feel or show inclination or prejudice for or against someone or something. Bias is a disproportionate weight in favor of or against an idea, something, someone, usually in a way that is closed-minded or unfair. The moment we criticize ourselves and tell ourselves that we will never be able to do something that's unfair and it's biased and it's prejudicial. The truth of the being, the truth of our being is that we are the infinite I am. How could we be anything less? But bias is what creates war. Because one person sees a 6, the other one sees a 9, they disagree. Their bias towards what they perceive then causes animosity, judgment, othering, separation, lack, scarcity, greed, control and oppression, and genocide and war. The bias that shows up as an inability to communicate, to be in community, can only be changed by us, through us. The moment we recognize any discord in the world, whatever it is, the moment we recognize any discord within ourselves, whatever it is, the moment we recognize any discord in relationship, in connectivity, in whatever it is, it can only be changed by us, through us. If I see something wrong, what did, if I'm not mistaken, Kennedy said, if not us, then who? If not now, then when? I can bemoan and this is going wrong with the world. This is going wrong in my family. This is going wrong with whatever. And then go about my business and do absolutely nothing about it. I don't do Reiki, I don't meditate, I don't pray, I don't do a treatment, I don't do anything. then I'm not changing the object in the mirror, am I? I'm not changing anything in my consciousness, am I? No. In fact, what I'm doing by leaving it there, I am furthering the grounding energy of precedent rather than principle. If I come up to Tracy every morning for a year, Tracy, you know I really don't like you. You know you're lazy. You know you never cook. You know you never clean. You know I don't like the fact that you're here from working from home. If I said that every day for a year, I guarantee you on the first day of the next year, when I say nothing, her expectation is that I'm going to say it again. When I am furthering the energy of war and racism and prejudice and sexism, and I'm grounded in that energy, and that's what's sitting in my consciousness, then I am laying the groundwork for that to be the expectation that continues. I'm convicted to this idea, maintaining the status quo, business as usual. If I want things to change, I need to walk around and look at this thing from several different angles. Not just from my angle, move around it, action. See it from another person's point of view, just considering it as, maybe. Think about the times we don't ever want to try some other food because I'm used to steak and potatoes. That's all I eat. And someone says, well, you should try this thing called a taco, or you should try this thing called teriyaki, or you should try this thing called jerk chicken. And you're like, nope, that's foreign food. I don't eat foreign foods. Steak and potatoes, that's what I was raised on. That's all I eat. Then I'm grounded in the consciousness, Tracy's laughing at me. Then I'm grounded in the consciousness of precedent, the habit, the tendency, the record grooves that once it's carved in wax, it's not going to play a different song. I don't put on a record one day and it plays Jingle Bells, and put the same record on tomorrow and it plays Deck the Halls, and put the same record on the next day and it's rolling, 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 and it's no, it doesn't work that way. So if we want to change, Tracy's laughing at me again. Stop laughing at me. You're building an expectation. So if we want to change the experience, change the recording, change the consciousness, and then war, rumors of war, racism, sexism, all of those things must change as well. Paramahansa Yogananda said, most people consider the course of events as natural and inevitable. War, there will always be war. For as long as there will be people, there will be war. Is that natural and inevitable? Is that the innateness of humanity? Even though what we know is we are divine beings made in the image and likeness of love itself, are we, okay, let's go back. Most people consider the course of events as natural and inevitable. They little know what radical changes are possible through prayer. Well, we know, right? We know spiritual mind treatment, prayer, is able to change conditions. We know that focusing on principle and spiritual law changes precedent. It changes what some would call natural and inevitable. But do we practice prayer on a daily basis? Do we pray only when something is not going well? Do we only do affirmations when we want to change something? I want more self-esteem, so I'm going to do an affirmation for my self-esteem. But now that you have greater self-esteem, is there no longer a need to continue an affirmation to continue the energy of, I know that I am worthy and good and glorious and beautiful? Or do we say, yay, the car is full of gas, and go about our business and drive 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 until the car goes, oh, I thought I only needed to fill it up once. Prayer is an ongoing activity. Our thoughts are prayers and we are always praying. We don't think a thought once. I could think a thought I've never thought before, and then I'd stop, I'd sit and think some more. Affirmations, declarations, and prayer are part of our spiritual practices, like breathing, like focusing. So why would they stop? So our invitation is to actively engage the practice. Science of Mind says, the recognition of the presence of God, or good, automatically wipes out any picture, anything that is in that mirror, automatically wipes out any picture of undesirable conditions. For the Spirit of God is a law of elimination and obliteration to everything unlike itself. When we engage this principle, this spiritual law, anything that is not love, health, well-being must fade back into the no-thingness from whence it arose. We surrender that image. We surrender that old consciousness, those old paradigms, and we allow what we know as the presence of God to stand as the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But are we willing to do that work? Are we willing to be convicted of that? Diversity and inclusion, a world that works for all. But I don't like my neighbors. And I don't like that guy over there who has that Donald Trump flag waving every morning when I go outside to get the mail. I don't like him. Oh, and that guy that's on the news, I don't like him either. And all those people who talk about that, I don't like them either. And matter of fact, when this happens, I really don't like them either. Matter of fact, did you know that all men are dogs? Did you know that women, did you know that gay people, did you know that any of those biases, implicit or explicit, keep us separate and keep us from building community, from nurturing family, and from supporting our ohana? In whatever way, shape, or form, community, family, and ohana show up, because those three words are synonymous. Your beloved community can be your spiritual family, if you so choose for it to be. Your ohana, which is a Hawaiian word for the people who are of your tribe, your soul family, those who chosen family, spiritual family, and biological family, if that is the case. Some people I have very clear and healthy boundaries. I cannot be with my biological family. So I have created an ohana, a family of choice. But are we willing to build, to nurture, and to support that? Because it takes work, it takes conviction, and it takes practice. It doesn't just happen. Just because we have CSL Greater Baltimore doesn't automatically make us a community. It doesn't make us family. It doesn't make us an ohana. It is our active engagement in the practice that makes it so. Simply saying the words, but I know that I'm God. I am the I am. Saying the words and believing the words are two different things. Saying the words, believing the words, and letting those words faith you, move you into action, live through you, completely different consciousness, completely different paradigms, completely different ways of showing up. What are we invited to do? Also, from the Science of Mind, the highest realization we can have is a recognition of the omnipresence of spirit. This will set greater possibilities into motion and will automatically provide a better concept of life. When we recognize that spirit is omnipresence itself, and it must be where we are right now. It's where we are right now, and wherever we go, it's always there. And the moment we recognize that, then greater possibilities and potentialities come before us, move up through us, show up in our mind's eye. And then automatically we have a different vision and concept of a better, more effective way of living. But what is a better concept of life, Reverend Ray? What does that even mean, a better concept of life? Well, in John 10:10, Yeshua said, the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. Well, what is the thief? The thief is that consciousness or paradigm of bias, that consciousness or paradigm of littling and belittling ourselves, of judging and condemning, of keeping the record playing of, well, it's always been, it's always going to be. What was, it still is, and it's always going to be. Oppression, war and rumors of war, sickness, illness, and disease. You're never going to get rid of. That's the thief. The thief is the lie about ourselves, the lie about each other, the lie about God. So the thief comes only to steal and to kill and destroy. I, consciousness, I, the Christ consciousness, I, the infinite I am, came that you may have life and have it abundantly. That you may manifest and demonstrate and experience the life of a magnificently demonstrating, powerful, loving being. That's a better concept of life. What is a better concept of your life is a question you may want to ask. Make it personal. What would shift when I determine what a better concept of my life is? What does it mean for you to have experienced life abundantly? Does it mean more love? Does it mean more family, more friendships, more connections, more communication? Does it mean more fun, more joy, more laughter, more what? What is this abundance? And we're not specifically talking about life as an abundance of cash, because having money doesn't automatically make you happy. Yeshua said, have life and have it abundantly. So what does it mean to live life and live life to overflow? To live it in an abundant manner, to know that you are enough and therefore you have enough. What are the actions that you are engaged in to create this abundant life, both individually and collectively? What action is there? There has to be an action. We're always acting in some manner, some way, shape, or form, based upon what we believe. Do we believe in a better concept of life? Do we believe in living life abundantly? If so, then our actions will demonstrate that. And if not, then our actions will demonstrate what we truly do believe and have faith in. Seek ye first the kingdom, going back to where we started. Seek ye first the kingdom, kinship, communion of God, and all things shall be added unto you. Seek that place, that state of consciousness where you know you and all are one. An important part of our spiritual evolution is the by us stage, which has its limitations. Transcend, transform, transmute the biases, judgments, criticisms, baggage that limit your ability to connect. When we free our mind of our bias, we move into the through us stage of our spiritual development. We realize the activity of spirit is a communal act. Then we are actively transforming the world through our commitment to one another. For where two or three are gathered in my nature, in my name, there that which is the infinite I am must be. And when two or three are gathered and embody the nature of God, a mighty work must be done. And then lastly, much more awaits us and is possible when we surrender and allow Spirit to move in, through, with, and as not only us individually, but collectively. Jesus said, what do you mean, if I can? Anything is possible if or when a person believes. We right now have the power to shift and change not only our lives, but the entire planet. Are we ready and willing to do that work, to roll up our sleeves physically, literally, And metaphorically, metaphysically, are we willing to do the work that's called? Ernest Holmes said in this thing called you, your soul belongs to the universe. Your mind is an outlet through which the creative intelligence of the universe seeks fulfillment. You are God on earth. You are the way that the universe is expressing itself and fulfilling its own experience of itself right here, right now, as you. But when we allow that bias, the judgment, the baggage to take precedent, the fulfillment isn't what's happening, not of the creative intelligence. We are fulfilling the lie, that thief, what they're seeking to steal, destroy, that's what's being fulfilled. We have a choice. Right now, the table is set. Are you ready and willing to connect, to contribute, to collaborate, and to co-create a life that works, a beloved community that works, and a world that works? If so, then let us join and do so together. Today's encouragement, should you choose to accept. Journal and ask yourself, what biases do you have that you are aware of? And keep a note that you can be biased against yourself. What biases do you know that you have? Simply allow yourself to explore. Where do I know that I judge people, places, things, foods, music? Where do I judge whatever it is? What can I do this week to build community, kinship, connection with others, both in and to those not in my spiritual community? What can I do to connect with people? Is it a phone call? Is it an email? Is it a text message? Is it a carrier pigeon? Is it a smoke signal? Like, what can I do this week to connect with more people in my spiritual community, as well as people who are not in my specific spiritual community? Connect. If it's going to be a world that works for all, then we must practice that art of connecting with all. Have a conversation with Tracy. How many is that?
Quattro.
Oh, quattro. Quattro what?
Personas.
Personas. Personas. Quattros. Have a conversation with 4 people. About what? What community means to you? What ohana means to you? And what biases do you see, feel, experience that limit your connections in your life? Have a conversation with 4 people about that. Each of these things. And have an open conversation about it. Sometimes it's difficult to converse about things that are uncomfortable. Talking about our judgments and how we ostracize people can be uncomfortable. We don't want to be judged. We don't want someone else's bias of us being biased of somebody else to be a thing. But the invitation is, how do we heal it? We shift the consciousness, and part of how we can do that is talking about it. This week's declaration or affirmation, I will say it first, then together. I allow Spirit to fill me to overflow, revealing divine truth. Together. I allow Spirit to fill me to overflow, revealing divine truth. And we breathe and let that resonate and let that sink in as we prepare our hearts, our minds, our ears, our very soul for this amazing, like, I'm really grateful that I even know this man, like this amazingly powerful, resonant, and anchored and grounded individual that is Sky Nelson, who is doing a mighty work in the world in his own way. Like, he sings, he speaks, he writes, he has conversations on, I don't remember what it's called now. Oh, because he asked me about it. Clubhouse, I think is what it is. I don't, man, that might be wrong. Anyhow, I digress.
No, you don't.
Let us open our hearts, our minds, and our spirits, ready to receive the love from Sky. And so it is.
So powerful. I am so moved and so happy to be here. I want to remind you that synchronicity is all around you every day. When you imagine more, it cannot help but come to be. This precious place, it holds a charge, can change a life, can light a spark. An open heart is what it asks, paying forward, giving back. Imagine more, and from that seed, it cannot help but come to be. It cannot help but come to be. You step on stage, you take command, you feel the privilege of the platform where you stand. Your message flies, and then it lands upon the open hearts delivered to your hands. Imagine more, and from that seed, it cannot help but come to be. It cannot help but come to be. Yeah. Look what we have created. 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 Imagine more. And from that seed, it cannot help but come to be. It cannot help but come to be. It cannot help but come to be.
Yes, 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 yes. The moment we anchor and ground into that consciousness that what God is, what spirit is, what the infinite I am is, when we anchor and ground into that, then it cannot help but to be. Like it must demonstrate accordingly. That's some powerful stuff. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. So moving on, we recognize that tithing and donating as a spiritual practice is what we engage in at this time during service to, as Tracy said, keep the lights on, to also build this facility that is the right and perfect home for CSL Greater Baltimore. This right and perfect home that has the various things that came up in visioning. This right and perfect home that has space for youth of all ages, classrooms, a labyrinth, windows, all kind of stuff that invites and encourages people in the surrounding area to want to come and be a part of this beloved community and partake of what we offer, and simply to get to know us and allow us to get to know them. That is, after all, what community is. So how do we do this? We offer, we give as it has been given to us, in the same way that the CSL Greater Baltimore practitioners have pledged $25,000 by the end of this year. And as of the 15th of July, that number is 10,690. Now the practitioners tithe this on top of their already regular scheduled monthly tithes. The community's matching pledge of $25,000 by the year's end, as of the 13th of June, is $1,075. How do you give, tithe, or donate? Might be a question, especially if you're new to this community and to our virtual studio. You can do so through PayPal, text to give, the postal mail service. You can divide a portion, 50% to this 10% to that. Like, you can divide and choose where you want your tithe to go, or you can trust the Board of Trustees to steward the tithe, the donation accordingly, knowing that all are grounding in the truth of what it means to be a beloved community. And if you ever want more information, you could always go to the website, cslgreaterbaltimore.com/give, or contact any of us here at CSL Greater Baltimore on the board, and we will be sure to answer your questions. Knowing that we are able to give from the overflow because we are a demonstration of prosperity and wealth. Like, a lot of people will say, slight sidebar, a lot of people will say that New Thought is a prosperity teaching, and it's not, right? It's not a prosperity teaching. It is an accurate and effective teaching that, when done effectively, correctly, quote unquote, then prosperity, health, well-being, etc., are demonstrated. As Sky said, it must be, it must come to be. Once the seed, it must come to be. You plant the seed, the soil is rich, then it must come to be. So we are a theology that helps demonstrate, create, shift consciousness so that what's in the mirror shifts and changes. So prosperity, health, well-being, infinite goodness, love, etc. So when we give, we are giving knowing that we are prosperity in the flesh. We are love made flesh. We are the word of God in human form. So our declaration that says we as a community are prosperous because I as an individual am prosperous. Together, if this resonates with you, let us declare and affirm. I joyfully, consciously, and gratefully participate in the law of circulation. I trust in the spiritual principle that says, as I sow into my beloved community, I demonstrate my awareness of standing not only in the flow, but as the flow itself. As I sow of myself, my time, my treasure, my talent, I demonstrate my support and engagement in my community's vision, mission, and purpose. I actively give as a demonstration of manifesting, of reaping the harvest of a world that works for all. Breathe. And recognize that right here and right now, you are whole, perfect, and complete. You are exactly what this declaration of wealth and abundance is saying, not just about finances, but about your entire being as the very demonstration of spirit. It must be. And so we breathe, we allow that which is the awesomeness of God to be right here, present in, through, and as us. And as Tracy encourages us, go out in the world and be awesome. Go out in the world and let that awesomeness that you are be contagious. Let other people who see you, hear you, who hug you or fist bump you from a distance, let your contagiousness of awesomeness rub off on them. Let them know that they are awesome and they don't even know why they suddenly feel, you know what, I'm awesome. I don't know why, but I feel awesome. And let it loose. Stop laughing at me, Tracy. Just let it loose. Let yourself be awesome today. Let that gloriousness of what spirit is as you, let it shine. Prayer requests today can be emailed to info@cslgreaterbaltimore.org, or you can always email me and I will make sure that they are sent to the practitioners. If you are staying today for the board meeting that is happening after service, just stay on the Zoom call and we will ensure that you get the information, because Jim, I'm sure, will come on and say, so we're going to start the meeting at 0 on 100 hours or whatnot. So we'll all know. So if you're staying for the meeting, you are more than welcome. And at this time, let us anchor ground and close in prayer, knowing that the infinite allness of spirit is present. And so our gratitude for all that we heard today, all that we felt, all the connectivity with one another via the chat, via the video, because soon Tracy's going to open everything up so you can love on each other and talk to each other and stuff, like all of this, and the gratitude for this great beloved community wells up right now. I am so grateful to be a part of this community. I am so grateful to know this truth. I am so grateful to know that I am living life and living it more and more and more abundantly. And what is true for me, because there ain't just me, what is true for me is true for all of the incarnations of God, and that includes you. So I'm grateful for your knowingness and awareness of this. I'm grateful for this and so much more than words could ever express or convey. So I surrender it, knowing that this treatment, this prayer, this service, from the meditation through the songs, spiritual practice, the message, the chat, and every laugh that Tracy gave, and everything that is yet to come, is the right and perfect demonstration of Spirit as us. And this prayer is answered. It's all God, and it's all good, and it is you. And so it is.